Hi everyone, it's Dawn from Spaceman Paper Crafts, and I'm back with another design team video for Jennifer at Genevieve Designs. You can find all of these templates on Jennifer's Etsy store, for the link for which I will leave in the description bar below, along with the link to Jennifer's YouTube channel and any of Jennifer's videos that I refer to in this video. Okay, so this month we were quite lucky as design team members. We got to choose any printable we wanted from Jennifer's Etsy store. I had a particular project in mind for my son. My son has autism and he goes to a specialist school, and we're going to be moving out of the city that we're in soon. And I wanted to make him a little book that he could get all his friends to write messages, and he's got space to write funny jokes or something that was particularly funny that happened that day. So it gives him a chance to build up memories before we move, and then he can always look back on them then, and hopefully with fondness. And yeah, so I decided that I would ask Jennifer if I could do the Stack the Pages. Now, the Stack the Pages album, I've watched Jennifer's tutorial on it, and it's fantastic, and it looks a lot more complicated than it is. It is super easy. Everything is pretty much done for you. All you need to do is print things out, cut them and stick them in, and everything else is there for you. As with all of Jennifer's templates, you know, you can just run with it and make it your own, really. So what you get when you order, you get your guides. So you get your guides, and within that guide you get a letter from Jennifer. You also get the table of contents, what's in your guide. Now for this video I'm not going to make the covers. I've already made the covers off camera. I'm going to show you how I'm going to make the pages and how I'm going to bulk them out with pockets and flaps and all sorts of things. Okay, so yeah, so it gives you the Stack the Pages template instructions, and all of these you could make to your own printer specifications. So here in the UK we use A4. I know in the States the common measurement's 8.5 by 11, I believe. So your printer, you just adjust your printer to whatever page size you use. Okay, so this gives you all the pages that you're going to need, and there's 3 pages, and I've actually cut mine out and inked them up, and you can see there that 1, 2, 3. You can actually see that the gap in the center is smaller as you go down, and I'm not too sure if you can see. Let me find something that I can point with. But these templates actually come with guide marks on page 1 and 2 to show you where to line up your pages. See that? So they all stack appropriately, so hence Stack the Pages. So there are only 3 pages in this book, but that doesn't mean you've only got 3 pages. You can make flaps and you can make pockets and all sorts of different things to complement and add to your album. So in the instructions you get your guide, you get everything, tells you where all the mats are, what all the pages are. It's all really well broken down and easy to put together. Now luckily Jennifer has done a video on the covers herself, so I'm going to link that video for you, as I said at the beginning. And there are 2 ways that you can do the covers, which I thought was fantastic. Now you can do the wrapped edge or the raw edge. Now I struggle with doing wrapped edges because for some reason I can never get that mitered corner right. I always either cut it too small or too big. I can never get it right. So the raw edge method worked much better for me, and I will show you here on a prototype that I made. So this is the raw edge. So this is just showing the chipboard on the edge, which I have inked, by the way, so you can't really tell, but everything is really flush to the edge, and it's really good. And this was my prototype. So I've just put some pockets and flaps in just to see how things go, but this is how you stack up your pages. In the interest as well of full disclosure, I will say this. This was my first attempt at a cover, and look what happened. I got too excited about folding it, and I didn't let it dry properly, and I split the paper. So just be patient with it and it will be absolutely fine. So this is the cover that I've just finished now for this project, and I've used the wood grain background, and I'm going to be using that throughout as well on different pockets and flaps and things. So yeah, this again is the raw edge method. So there's no wrapping on this method at all, but as I say, Jennifer does show you in her video how to do both methods. Okay, so it shows you how to add the spine, and now then we get to the pages. Okay, so the first 3 pages that you print off are your actual pages, so you will cut them down to fit your printer, whether it's you're cutting down 12 by 12 or if you have A4 or 8.5 by 11. You will just pop that in your printer and print those out. You can print them obviously on plain cardstock, and you can mat them, and the information about matting is also in the guide. So these are pockets, inserts, you get belly bands, envelopes, the inserts for envelopes. There's so much that you can add to this printable. These are the covers. So when you print them out to make your covers, you would print out 2 of page 11, and then you would print out these are your spine pieces. So as you can see here, you cut them in half. Okay, so you have 2 spines on each one. You cut them in half, and you've got a back and a front spine cover. Okay, so that is pretty much the template itself that we've just had a quick run through. These are the 2. I'm mixing my papers today, so I wanted to keep it quite masculine but also kind of fun as well, because my son is only 12, and a bit of a travel theme, so I thought I'd use this paper. So this is by first edition papers, I believe, and this is called Travel Notes. This is 12 by 12, and this one is called Man-Made, and again by first edition. But I thought they all the little bits and pieces I thought were really good. Some of them are single-sided and some are doubled. Okay, so that's the paper I'm using. Let me just move that to one side and bring in the pages. So what I've done is I've printed these out. I've cut them down from 12 by 12 down to A4. The A4 measurement is in centimetres, 29.7 by 21 centimetres, if you wanted to use centimetres to cut it down. And I've printed them out and I've inked them up. They are already inked on the printable. If you print them in colour, you'll get a brown, but I printed these in black and white, so I get the black, which is what I have inked all my other bits and pieces with. So I've inked all these up, I've cut them out, and I'm going to now score them. So I'm just going to bring in my little scoreboard. Whoops. There we go. And we're just going to score them one at a time. So along these lines are your score lines. So you would just line them up to any score line really, and just give them a score. And then you do the same for the other one. Line it up and just give it a score. So that's that. Then the second page, so you would just line it up and give it a score. put the scoreboard to one side a minute. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fold and burnish our pages. There we go. So this is how it all fits together. So one would fit in that one, the second one would fit in the first one, and the last one would fit in the middle one. So that's how they all stack up, and then they all fit in your book like so. So let's get these stuck down. I'm going to use some, what should I use? Score tape, I think. I think I'll use score tape. So let's get my score tape out. Now I realise, or I have just realised, that I've really made a little bit of a mistake here, but I'm just going to have to wing it, because what I've done in doing this, instead of putting my tape on the back of this one and putting it in, and on the back of this one, I've done it on the inside, which means I've covered up my little guidelines. So I'm going to have to just try and measure it. Let me just see, I've got too much score tape on there now. So what I'm going to do is, because I've got too much score tape on here, I'm going to put another piece on rather than have to print out the whole page again. I'd like to show my mistakes, because you can fix them. So while I'm doing that, let me just get this one. I think I've done the same on that one as well, haven't I? Yeah, I've done too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure, and I'm just going to put some paper in the middle. Okay, I'm back, and I've cut my pieces to cover up my mistake. So everybody makes mistakes, at least this way. If you do happen to make one, you know how to cover it. See, there we go, you'd never know. And we'll just do the same with this one, and then we're going to I'll show you how to tape it properly this time. So you just, I don't like wasting anything, so I'd rather not really have to print everything and cut it all again. I'd rather just cover up my mistake. And there we go, it all folds again. Perfect. So you would never know that had happened in the first place. Okay, so we're going to flip it over and we're going to put our tape on. So I'm going to stick this one into our album first. Let's take that backing off. So again, remember, I've covered up my guide marks, so I'm just going to have to see how we get on. Okay, so I'm not going to press it down until I'm happy with where everything is. Trying to get an even gap on both sides. Okay, so that's that page in, and you'd never know, look, we made a mistake. And then this one, we'll now put in. Again, I've covered my guides, so I'm going to have to try and make it work. And that looks fine. So I'm just going to give that a good burnish down now. So that's all our pages all ready. Just open them up, make sure nothing's sticking. Okay, so that's our 3 pages. Now what we need to do is we need to pop them in our album. So I need to decide which is going to be the top and the bottom of my album. Don't really think it makes much difference, but I think yeah. Okay, so let's take these backers off. Okay, now I'm just, again, I'm not going to stick anything down until I'm absolutely happy. Jennifer does an amazing thing with a glue stick. If you rub a glue stick over the sticky part of your score tape, once it's on there, it does give you a couple of seconds wiggle room. So I just want to see how that is there. That's a little bit too. You will get there, you've just got to have a little fiddle about and make sure that you're happy with how it looks, and just stick that in and give it a really good burnish down. And there we go, there are our pages in our book. And you would never know we had that little incident there because you can't even see. Okay, so next thing I need to do now is go to the computer, and I'm going to print off some flaps and some pockets, and we'll make them up, and then we'll decide how we're going to add those into our album. So I'll be back very soon. Okay, so I've printed out various different pockets and flaps. If you look on the instructions, this can be either used as 2 pockets or a pocket and a flap, depending on how you cut the tabs off. So I've printed a few of those out, and I've done these on different colour grey cardstock because it sort of complements, I think, to have a couple of different grey tones. And then I've printed some bits and pieces out on oh, that should have been black and white. I might have to redo that one. Onto some various different greys and some pockets and things as well. So I'll just pop that one to one side because I might need to reprint that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut all these out, and I'll score and tape most of them. So I'll be right back in a few minutes. Okay guys, I'm back, and I've cut out the pockets and flaps that I want for the first 2 pages. So I'm going to do those with you now. This is the mat on page pocket on page 4. This is what it looks like. I'll show you the plain one so you can get a better idea. And then what I did with this one was I cut off the top flap because that's where I want the pocket to open. So I've cut that one off at the top, and then scored and folded all those round, and that's going to give me my pocket. And then I wanted a flap that's going to sit inside that and flap open. So what I did was I cut this one out, and then I cut about, I don't even know what that is, let me just quickly measure. I didn't measure it, I just eyeballed it to see what I like the look of, and I cut roughly about 1.5 inches off there, and kept the bottom flap because that's the bit that I need to flap out. Okay, and I've got a mat for my pocket. I'm going to show you how to get a mat for whatever size flap you're using. So with this album, Jennifer's designed it in such a way that the pieces that you cut off your 12 by 12 you can use, they'll fit in various different places, as mats. So I'm going to find something that I want to use. I want it to be too much like, I think that spot's nice. So I need two pieces. I need a back and a front. So I think I'll just use those two as the back and the front. And put all my scraps back in. So there is really no right or wrong way to do this with pockets and flaps. You just have to find a way that works for you and something that you really like the look of. So I'm just going to line it up here with a border, and I'm just going to simply take a pencil and just mark it where I need to cut. And there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to put two pieces together, and I'm going to cut them both at the same time. So one's for the back and one's for the front. So I will bring back in my paper trimmer and try and find where I made those pencil marks. Yep. So line them up in the cutting groove of my trimmer. I'll put those back in the scraps. And then find the long one and line that up. So now hopefully, see, even these bits, you keep these bits because you could use those for belly bands throughout the album. So hopefully these two should now fit the first flap pretty well. Yeah, maybe just a little bit off the end, just a fraction off the end, which is easy done. So you don't always have to measure things, you know, you just line things up and see if you've got a piece that fits, that coordinates. And that is the beauty of these albums. I think they're amazing. So yeah, that's much better. So I'm going to ink those two pieces up. I'm just using some black distress ink and just a finger dauber, which I think I'm going to have to change in a minute because all the little bits are falling off it. I'll just ink up the edges of that as well. When I cut out all my templates, I made sure I just inked the edges up. Okay, so I think we're ready to attach everything, ready for our first pocket and flap. So this piece I want to go on the front of my pocket. So I'm just going to get my tape runner. I'm going to use a mixture of tape runner and wet glue for this. I would have used my ATG gun, but I'm waiting for tape to arrive, which seems to be taking forever. So part of this video, because I'm going to be filming it over a few days, part of it you'll probably see me with my Xyron, and part of it you'll probably see me with the ATG, depending on what I decide to do. Whoops. I'm using wet glue on this because this paper, some of the sheets on this paper are embossed. Okay, so that's the pocket, and then I'm just going to put the paper onto our flap. So again, I'm just going to use some tape runner and some wet glue. This Xyron tape runner is really good. It's much more lightweight than the ATG as well. So which do I want on the, I think I'll have this one on the inside and then the spotty one on the front. Make sure that this is in camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. and then we'll put the green one on the other side. This wet glue I'm using is art glitter glue, which is really good. It dries quite fast as well, so press that down really well. Okay, and now we're going to stick this page in our book, and I think I'm going to have it like this, then the flap opens out this way, I think. So I have to take the backing off. Then we'll just line this up and stick this pocket down. I'm just going to pop my bone folder in there and just press all that down. So I'm using score tape to attach things to our album. Let's turn it the right way up. And then I'm going to put the little flat piece in there so it flaps open that way. And then the back of this then will then be a pocket. I just want to trim a little bit more off the edge. I always find I can line it up a little bit better when I do that. And just a little bit off this side as well. Okay, so then I'm just going to slot this in without pressing down. Make sure it's over the folds of the pocket, and then just press that down. And that is our first page, and then we've also got a pocket here. So we've got a flap and a pocket. Okay, so that's the first page. Second page, I'm going to do another pocket, but I'm going to use the wood grain this time, and this is going to be a full page pocket, but it's going to have a flap that opens up this way. Okay, I want to try and put a magnet in so I can magnetise the bottom. I don't know whether to put it on that page. Is it going to load it up too much? No, do you know what? I'm going to do it on this page. So I'm going to put my score tape on. Before I stick this down, I want to put a magnet on. So I have to work out roughly whereabouts this magnet needs to be. So it's going to need to be, that's sort of, it's going to have to be about there, I think. So I'm just going to pop a dab of wet glue on there just to mark my spot really. Get a little bit of score tape. And then I'm going to, I think I'm going to put a strip of paper inside here as well, so whatever you put on it is not going to catch. So just a bit of score tape there. And then I've got my magnet. And I'm going to put that down there. I'm just wondering if I need to No, I think I'll be okay actually. And then let's get this stuck down, and then we can put the magnet on the other end then as well. Let's just double check that, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I'll do it on this side, aren't we? So let's peel these bits up. And then we'll just take the bottom one off. Not very central though, I don't think, but it should be okay. Oops, I think I may have to lift this a bit. Oh dear. It's because I haven't pressed anything down just yet. Phew. Right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely rethink this, and I'm going to cut, because you can't see any of that paper, so I'm actually going to cut the tabs off. Oh, it's just as well because that one tore anyway, so let's bring in my paper trimmer. Let's get rid of all those white edges. And this is going to be quite a tight little pocket, but do you know what? It's going to work. Yep. I'm just going to trim a tiny bit more off the edge. That's why these templates are amazing, because they are completely adaptable to whatever it is you need. You just make it work for you. I'm just going to go back and just quickly ink this bit. And then I'm just going to pop some score tape. Actually, do you know what? I might put it on here because it's not going to be really used as a pocket. So now that magnet's there, I'm going to, whoops, pop that one on there. And I'm going to have to trim this down now, I think. No, that's okay actually. So I'm going to decide whereabouts this is going to go, which is about there. Whoops. So just get another piece of score tape to put over that magnet. Okay, so now we've got that in the right place. I've already cut some paper that I want to mat this with. So I'm just going to quickly ink around the edges. I have to be careful when I put this on, that I need to make sure that the pattern is going the right way, so that when he flips it up, the cars are facing the right way, if you know what I mean, so they're not upside down. So if he's flipping up that way, so they need to go on that way. Okay, just double check that that fits okay. Yeah. So again, I'm just going to use my tape runner. And some wet glue. Oh, I think because the pin's been out for a little while, let's... That's right. And then I just need to pop that flap in. So I need to get some more score tape. Pop the pin in my glue. And then I just want to line this up without pressing on it to make sure the magnets connect and we're in the right place. And there we go. And that's our flap. So we've got 2 pages already. We've got a flap on this page and a pocket, and we have a magnetised flap here, and I'm probably not going to use that as a pocket, although I don't know, we'll see. I may just use this as a belly band possibly, or something. So then that leaves us with a few more pages to go. So I'm going to see what we've got left, and then I'm going to come back and cut down some more pages with you, and then we'll make the inserts for our pockets. Okay, so I've cut out some bits for the next 2 pages. Now this is the pocket that's on page 6, and this is the belly band that's also on page 6, so I'm going to use those on my next 2 pages. But before I do that, I want to finish off doing what I had planned for the magnet piece. So I was going to put this piece in. I've got some cute fun stamps and things. I've got this emoji stamp set, so I was going to stamp some bits on there and then add it in there so they've got some room to write. So, oops, I'm going to, I think I'll ink it. Oops. I'll just give it a little ink first. Try and not get ink on the actual sheet itself. I struggle with crafting with white paper or cardstock because I am quite messy. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my ink. Okay, I'm just going to use some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. This is my favourite for stamping, and I'm just going to use my Stamp Perfect. And I'm not too sure how I want this to look yet, but I'm going to secure it down anyway. So I know it's the right size, so I've measured it. So I'm not sure how to have it. Let's see. Okay, let's have this phone. That looks quite cute, doesn't it? So sort of have that on an angle maybe. And then I wonder if we could put that in. Yeah, that fits in nicely there. And then we can put a couple of emojis at the bottom. This is a new stamp set, I haven't used this yet. Oops, that's even upside down. I think that's how I want it laid out. Whoops, the static is sticking my stamps to me. Yeah. And then let's just have that on the bottom, just to add a little bit of interest. And let's just see how that looks first, and then I can always add to it if I have to. Okay, so I'm just going to ink these up. So I'm doing this in my Stamp Perfect because they are new stamps, so I may need to stamp a couple of times. Now that looks pretty cool actually. Yeah, I like that. So I'll just get one of my stamp cleaning wipes there. Yeah, I think that looks great. So I'm going to add that in to the page. I'll sort those stamps out in a minute because I'll probably need to use them again throughout this album. So I will tape this underneath that flap there. So I'll just open that flap up. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is use my other one because it's smaller. You can get it all on camera then. Okay, so I'm just going to bring that in and stick that down there. So I think when that gets lifted up, that looks really cute. So, okay, so this page, I just want to put a belly band on. And as I said, this is the belly band from page 6. So I'm just going to get my score board out and just score the edges. Okay, I'm just going to score the lines here. And I'm just going to check that these are going to fit my page okay. I'll just double check before I stick it in. Yep. So I'm just going to ink up that little bit there because I went a bit hard with the scoring tool. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put some score tape on these bits. So I'm going to use Jennifer's trick with the glue stick because I got myself into a bit of a pickle last time, didn't I, with my pages. So I'm just going to run over that with a glue stick. And then stick this down. I'm going to try and centre it. And then flip it over and stick that side down there. So that gives us a nice belly band for that page. And then this page I'm going to do a pocket. So let's just This is, as I say, the small pocket on page 6, and this is printed out in the wood grain background. Snip the little edges off. So then I'm going to score these lines as well. Didn't take quite enough off there, that's it. And the last one, there we go. So I'm just going to fold these round and create a little pocket here. So where to put it, let me see. Belly band here. Maybe there. Yeah, I want to notch out a little bit there though, as well, I think. So I'm just going to get a punch. This is just a 1-inch punch. And I'm just going to try and eyeball the middle and just cut a little notch out there. Okay, so again I'm just going to get some score tape. So I'm just going to put some glue stick on and then just line up my little pocket here. There we go. Okay, so we've got a few pages done. We've got this flap and this pocket here. I might do another emoji strip there. And then we've got this little flap and our little emoji there. Belly band on this page and a little pocket on this page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a few more bits and pieces out. Fill up the album with all the pages, all the pockets and things, print out all the inserts, and then I'll come back to you before I put all the inserts in, and yeah, I'll see you in a minute. Okay guys, I'm back and I've finished putting all the flaps and pockets in, so I'll just show you what we've got so far. So obviously it's the front and back of the album. Then the first flap, I've just used the emoji stamp set there. And then we've got a pocket. Then on the other side, this is where we did the magnetic flap and some more stamping there. And then I put a belly band here, a small pocket here, and another belly band. Then here I've done 2 pockets, one larger one and one smaller one. Here I've done a pocket. I've also done 2 flaps that fold out like that. Then another belly band, and then another one on this page. And then here we've got a flap, and I've just put another stamped pieces there. And then we finish with a pocket on the last page. Now what I've done is I've printed out lots and lots of different elements to go in. I haven't decided what I'm putting where yet. I do want to share a quick tip with you though. I'm rubbish at cutting out corners. It's just one thing I cannot do. So what I found was that if I used my corner chomper on the 1/2 inch, that rounds the corners beautifully for me, to save me panicking about that. Most of them, well, I've done those ones with the corner rounder, and these ones I haven't, so you can see the difference there compared to there. Yeah, just some of them will fit into where you cut on the corner rounder, some of them won't. On this big one, I rounded both top and bottom corners, so I'm going to do the same on this one as well. This is on page 8. This is like another little mini booklet, but what I'm going to do is round these off, and I'm using the 1/2 inch corner rounder, and that is so much better than my rubbish attempt there. So the corner rounder, definitely the way to go, guys. Okay, so I've printed out lots of envelopes and different bits and pieces, and what I found with this cardstock, because it's white core, I'm finding that it is, when I am scoring, it is going quite deep there. So for this, I'm just going to ink the insides as well. So I'm going to put a few of these together. I've also found another stamp set that I want to use within here, and this is a Paper Smooches stamp set, and this is called Teen Routine, and I've had this for ages and never used it. So there's like a little phone there, or is it like an iPad or something, and then a phone, MP3 player, which suits my son because he doesn't go anywhere without his MP3 player, and then I think that's like a PlayStation controller, and a little laptop. There's a mouse there. So I'm just going to start using some of these images, and then I'm going to be stamping on some of the inserts. So I've got to decide what I want and where. Okay guys, so here we are with the final part. I'll just run through and show you what I did. I put the envelopes together and I stamped on some of them. Some of them I left plain. So that's that one there. This one I matted both sides and then did that inside for some journaling. This one I just stamped the mobile phone and the smiley face. This envelope I just matted. This one I did this on the inside. I had a bit of an issue with the ink there, but I suppose by the time my son and his friends start doodling all over it, it won't matter so much. And I covered it all with the hashtag stamp. And then this little envelope, I've left them actually empty so he can put little notes in and things from his friends. So it's just got the little thumbs up icon. And then obviously these flaps you saw earlier, and the pocket is just plain. Well, it's got the wood grain. These little pockets I left plain, and they've each got their little inserts in as well. So I left those ones plain, and these ones, so he's got somewhere to write things. Obviously that flap you already saw previously, and then on the last one I just stamped the computer and the mouse again on that final pocket. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I'm going to, it looks nice and full, so I'm going to now decorate the front. Okay, so I've die cut bits and pieces. This is a Friends die from Lawn Fawn. These glasses remind me of my son's glasses, so a couple of mobile phones, more glasses, and then I've got these emoji die cuts from Spellbinders, I think they're from. Let me zoom you in just a little bit when I'm doing this, because it does get a bit fiddly. So you get the small circle, which you die cut first, and then you get 5 different emoji faces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these together. I've die cut the word friends 3 times, so I'm going to stack them one on top of the other. It gives it a little bit of sturdiness. go. That is my son's finished Stack the Pages mini album. This has been an amazing template for me to use. I've absolutely really thoroughly enjoyed this one, and there is no end to the creativity. I mean, Jennifer gives us these wonderful templates and inspires us with her tutorials, but you know, whatever you make is your own, and I am so happy, and I can't wait to give this to my son, ready to take into school to collect memories of his friends before we move. So thanks so much for watching, guys. All the links you will need will be underneath in the description bar. All the links for the album, printables, and Jennifer's YouTube and Jennifer's Etsy store as a whole. There are phenomenal templates in there for you to purchase. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you again in my next design team video. Take care, guys. Lots of love. Bye for now.